Hello and welcome to a brand new action figure review. As you can probably tell, today I'm going to be taking a look at the 8th Doctor 3-pack from the latest B&M figure line. Before I get started, I want to say a big thanks to Character Options and Evolution PR for sending this over to me to review. At the time of recording, the current word is that these will be hitting the shelves towards the end of August, but with delays that could very well be September. Let's get into it. So, taking a look at the packaging, it's the standard box we've come to expect, with the name of the set, the TARDIS and the logo on the left hand side, the gold limited edition sticker, and a nice big window to show off the figures inside. Unfortunately, we have lost the background diorama image this year that was present with the 3 figure packs from last year. On the back, we no longer get images of the figures, instead we have a wealth of information about the 8th Doctor and his various outfits. Feel free to pause and read that if you want. So, as you can see, this set features 3 versions of the 8th Doctor, one in his original TV movie outfit, one in his Big Finish outfit, and a third in his Night of the Doctor outfit, or Time War outfit as it's called on the box. All 3 versions of the Doctor in this set have been released before, but there are a few changes made. I'll go in chronological order and start with the TV movie outfit. This is a figure that we haven't seen released in 12 years, the first and only time being part of the 11 Doctor set in 2010. This figure retains all of the same sculpting as the original version, the main differences here being the paint application. The face has been painted much more strongly, which brings out the detail in the sculpt, which is a pretty good likeness to Paul McGann. He has the same white shirt as the original, however this time the waistcoat and cravat have been painted an almost metallic sort of bronze colour, whereas the original was a sort of dull grey. Also on his waistcoat we can see the sculpting of buttons and his pocket watch chain, though the former doesn't appear to have been painted. The original figure had a patterning on the waistcoat, which unfortunately is lost on this release. Looking at the Doctor's jacket, this new release seems to be a slightly brighter, more bottle green colour. I definitely prefer this as the original was very dark. The jacket lapels are now a lighter green instead of burgundy, which from promotional images appears to be more accurate. Moving to his legs, instead of a solid grey, this time we have a speckled pattern over the trousers, similar to what we've seen on the recent Season 12 and 13 4th Doctor figures. His shoes are now a brown colour, whereas the originals were black. In terms of accessories, unfortunately this figure does not come with his sonic screwdriver. Just an additional thing I'd like to say, my TV movie 8th Doctor appears to have a factory error on his left leg. The thigh piece appears to be a duplicate of that of his right thigh, which means the sculpting doesn't line up right. Not a huge deal, but something to look out for. Overall, I think this figure is a good re-release. Clearly some effort has been made to make it more screen accurate, and I think even if there had been no changes, after 12 years there are going to be a lot of people that never got this figure and will be very excited to have the opportunity. Moving on to the next Mr. McGann, we have him in his Big Finish outfit. Now this is the figure of the set that I'm, for want of a better word, most annoyed about. Granted, he comes with his satchel bag this time, which is very nice, but my biggest gripe is that this is the figure's 4th release in as many years. We had the original 2019 B&M Wave, the Big Finish website exclusive version, and then a modified B&M version in 2020, and now this one. I'm sure there are plenty of people who missed out on this figure before, but for me it feels a little bit too soon to be re-releasing a figure that was already a B&M release last on the shelves only 2 years ago. Anyway, taking a look at the figure itself, it has a good likeness to Paul McGann, much like the Night of the Doctor head. His hair is dark brown with a lighter brown wash over the top. For all my issues with this figure being in this set, the improvements they've made with the paint applications are very noticeable. I didn't think the original was bad until I saw this one, but as you can see, the new one has been painted much tidier and all the details are there, whereas the old one looks a bit melted. Moving down to the body, it's the same 9th Doctor body that we saw before, and the jacket has been painted navy with gold buttons, and he has his white shirt underneath. The legs are a kind of plain blue with a bit of a wash over the top to give a denim effect, but in my opinion, the legs on the original do just look that bit better. His shoes are black this time, much like the Big Finish exclusive version, whereas the previous B&M releases were brown. As I mentioned before, this 8th Doctor finally comes with his satchel, which is originally from the Connor Temple Primeval figure. It's a nice enough accessory, it's just all one solid brown colour and it sits over his shoulder very nicely. Overall, this figure is great for those who missed the 3 previous releases, but overall, the bag and improved paint apps just aren't good enough reasons to warrant a 4th edition so soon, and I feel like we could have had something else in this set. But it seems with this wave that the budget has been squeezed again. Going for the hat trick of McGanns, we have the 8th Doctor as seen in the Night of the Doctor. This figure I totally get having here, because it's had only 2 releases before, and to be honest, both were incredibly hard to get. The first was part of a collector's wave of figures in 2016, and the second was in the 13 Doctors set in 2017, so this one is definitely going to be sought after. So, in terms of differences, to put it simply, everything's darker. Starting with the head, it's more or less the same as the Big Finish one. It's a dark brown with a light brown wash over the top for the hair. As with the others in this set, the paint applications are much stronger on it, making the original look quite soft. All the sculpting is exactly the same, so we have his white shirt poking out over the top of the jacket, with a dirty wash over the top. The cravat is still blue, but it's more of a navy colour this time. The waistcoat has been given a sort of greeny gold colouring this time compared to the bronze of the original. His pocket watch has been painted silver, as has his belt clasp. The coat is much darker and almost the same shade as the TV movie jacket, but this new colour does seem to represent the costume more than the original. The legs are more or less the same colour as before, and the boots are now much darker. Overall, what differences have been made are noticeable, and I'm sure people will be very excited to have another opportunity to get this figure for the first time. Unfortunately, the Night of the Doctor 8th Doctor does not come with his sonic screwdriver, bandolier, or the goblet that we saw in the original release. Looking at articulation, starting with the Big Finish 8th Doctor, there's a turn at the head, a 360 at the shoulder, a 360 at the bicep, a 360 at the wrist, and a bend at the elbow. There's waist articulation, the legs can kick forwards as well as out to the side, and there's a bend at the knee. The TV movie shares all the same articulation, but also adds a 360 at the thigh. The Night of the Doctor figure has all of the above, but also adds ball jointed shoulders and a 360 at the top of the boot. Overall, this set is a bit hit and miss for me. As I mentioned before, it seems the budget has been considerably shrunken since last year, and obviously I don't know the ins and outs of production, but it does seem to me that there's very little creativity here. And that goes for the 10th Doctor set in this wave too. I completely understand having to tighten the purse strings, but I think character could have pulled something out of the bag that would entice people a lot more than 3 8th Doctors and 3 10th Doctors, because I do worry that these sets won't be as in demand as previous years. But, having said that, this particular set does give people a chance to grab the 8th Doctor from each time in his life, and it includes 2 fairly rare figures, so I'd say if you haven't got a Night of the Doctor or a TV movie 8th Doctor, then definitely go out and grab it. But, if you have the originals of all of these, then maybe wait until it's knocked down in price a bit. Speaking of price, these are supposedly going up to $21.99. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.